announced his nominee for the Supreme Court over the weekend, as expected. Now she is on the fast track to getting appointed. And if she does, she would be President Trump's third U.S. Supreme Court pick. Here to walk us through what happens next is CUNY law professor Natalie Gomez Velez. Natalie, always nice to see you. Good morning.
Good morning, Betty.
All right, so before we get to the Supreme Court nomination, let's talk about these taxes for just a second, because it was, for some, a bit of a bombshell, for others expected. New York Times reports that he paid $750 in federal income taxes in 2017 and again in 2018. Is that legal?
You know, I'm not a tax lawyer, but boy, it doesn't sound right for the President of the United States to be paying fewer taxes than I do or than most Americans do. So that's something I think certainly to look into, not only the illegality, but the possibility of conflicts of interest and compromising him because of the maneuvering around such tax avoidance.
Well, exactly. And I think that's what people are going to be looking at very closely, is the maneuvering. Because, look, we all want to find ways to which we'll reduce our tax, what we owe to the government. But at the same time, you have to do it in a legal way. This is a man who claimed to be a billionaire, an expert businessman. How does that line up with what we're seeing on his taxes?
Well, it doesn't line up very well, because on the one, either you've got a situation where he's been, lying about the degree to which he's a successful businessman, which some people say, well, that's the reason he should be running the country, or he is, really evading taxes to an extraordinary degree, none of which is good.
Yeah. All right. So let's shift over to the Supreme Court nomination. Judge Amy Coney Barrett, poised to have the quickest confirmation hearing in modern American history. What can you tell us about her legal opinion, especially where abortion and immigration are concerned?
So, it's interesting. She's been on the Seventh Circuit for just under 3 years now. And you can see in her decisions, mostly in dissent, right? She dissented in a case that struck down, for example, in Indiana, parental notification law that didn't have a judicial bypass, which Supreme Court precedent had already determined that there had to be such a bypass, and she dissented there. She dissented in 2 other cases that would have chipped away at the abortion right by putting restrictions on abortion facilities and by requiring that, or banning certain kinds of abortions based on the reason, right? A reason ban that also was contrary to Supreme Court precedent in Roe v. Wade. And the fact that she is dissenting in those cases signals 2 things. Signals her willingness, right, to allow restrictions on abortion rights, and also, which I think is the most important thing, if she goes from the Seventh Circuit, which is bound by Supreme Court precedent, onto the Supreme Court, she could be a vote to overturn well-established precedent. And I think that's what people are really concerned about.
Yeah, especially when it comes to the Affordable Care Act. We've seen the Democrats really hammer on that, because that decision is coming up quickly before the Supreme Court, correct?
Actually, Betty, yes, coming up in November right after the election. And in fact, that's the case I think that I'm most concerned about, and many Americans are concerned about, right? This is the 3rd time that a challenge to the Affordable Care Act is before the Supreme Court. Amy Coney Barrett was a clerk to Justice Scalia. Justice Scalia was one of the judges who, in one of the earlier cases, I don't know if you remember the broccoli reference, but basically took the position that the individual mandate wasn't authorized under the Commerce Clause. But it was Chief Justice Roberts in that decision said authorized under the Tax and Spending Clause. And now this challenge is to that basis for the Affordable Care Act. And so her willingness to strike that down should be of concern to all Americans.
And she's been publicly critical of it as well. So we kind of have an indication of where she is leaning should she get on the court. Is there anything that Democrats can do to slow down this process, at least until after the next president, whoever that is in office?
It looks like they have very few procedural maneuvers in there, available to them, because it really has been stripped down to if the Senate Republicans have the votes and have a majority, and it does not look like they feel that the Democrats are able to peel away any more of those votes, that there isn't very much that can be done to stop this nomination and confirmation. And it's really striking that they're going to move so quickly to appoint someone to a lifetime Supreme Court appointment with so little opportunity for vetting, so little opportunity for background and questioning. It really is a serious matter, and it's different from a confirmation process for a circuit judge.
Isn't it true she's only been a judge since 2017? She was a professor before that, right?
Yes, she was a professor before that. Nothing against law professors.
No, but she has very little experience since 2017.
That's right, as a judge.
As a judge, exactly.
And also, it's notable that the seat that she got on the Seventh Circuit was another instance where the majority leader had blocked an Obama appointee, Myers, who was nominated during the Obama years, and that seat was held open. So it's twice, in fact, that there's a seat available kind of related to earlier blocking of nominees by the prior.
There are so many questions that I could continue to ask you. Natalie, as always, we appreciate your insight. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Betty.